Kal-El of Krypton was just 3 years old when his planet was destroyed. His father, Jor-El, was one of the few individuals that foresaw this destruction, and sent his son away to planet Earth. The alien child was found by an elderly couple named Jonathan and Martha Kent. They raised him as their own child in the town called Smallville, and named him Clark. The yellow sun of our world greatly empowered this young Clark Kent. It did not take long for him to begin using this power as a young superhero named Superboy, meeting and working with several other new and young heroes of his era, including the likes of Bruce Wayne, Oliver Queen, and Aquaboy. As a hero, he also first encountered and made an enemy of Lex Luthor, who would become his arch-nemesis, while he also befriended the likes of Lana Lang, Pete Ross, and his Kryptonian dog, Krypto. It is this version of Superboy that had trained Kal-El of Earth 2, after finding himself on that world during one of his adventures. While this version of Superboy also traveled to the future for a time, working in the 30th century as part of the Legion of Superheroes. In the summer following Clark's graduation from high school, both of the Kents passed away. A saddened Clark decided to move on to the city of Metropolis, where he studied journalism at Metropolis University. He got a job as a reporter at the Daily Planet after this, working for Perry White, and there he met his co-workers Jimmy Olsen and Lois Lane. As with other Supermen, Clark and Lois had romantic feelings for one another and eventually started a romantic relationship. Upgrading his hero name to Superman, Clark continued to secretly fight crime as his hero and protect the world from threats such as Brainiac, Starro, and Kronos. During his career as a superhero, Kal-El met survivors of Krypton living in the bottled city of Kandor, who he helped settle on another planet, and also befriended his cousin who he helped settle on Earth and eventually would become this world's Supergirl. Superman, along with Batman, Wonder Woman, Barry Allen, Hal Jordan, Aquaman, and Martian Manhunter, together formed an alliance called the Justice League, a team dedicated to protecting the world from threats they could not handle individually. Batman in particular proved a close ally of Kal-El, and the two would often work together. They discovered each other's secret identities early on in their superhero careers, but agreed to keep this information to themselves. This bond of trust and teamwork proved formidable, and they formed a deep sense of respect for each other that lasted throughout their time as superheroes. Kal-El consistently worked to protect his world and universe right up until the crisis of Infinite Earths. This Superman found himself embroiled in a massive battle as a being called the Anti-Monitor tried to destroy all of reality, including alternate versions of Superman such as his old friend Kal-El of Earth 2. During this event, his version of Supergirl was tragically killed, and ultimately, most of reality was destroyed in this encounter. Thanks to the surviving heroes, including this version of Kal-El, the Anti-Monitor was defeated and a single universe was saved. Superman returned to this Earth and continued to operate as a hero, until he and his history were ultimately erased and converted into a new individual with a new history for this new Earth. This was an entirely different Superman who ultimately led a very different life from Kal-El of Earth 1. Yet a version of this Kal-El survived during the events of Convergence, when a being called Talos took over a collection of surviving cities collected by Brainiac before certain worlds were destroyed throughout the history of the multiverse. This version of Kal-El was Superboy from when he was living in the 30th century. The final fate of this young hero is currently unknown. Hello and welcome to Comic Island. My name is Arden, and this is my origins and bio for the Silver Age Superman. So this one ended up being pretty short and straightforward, mostly because this is the baseline level Superman, the one that kind of is what a lot of people think of when they think of early era Clark Kent and Lois Lane. All these Silver Age comics and characters that are basically the bedrock of all the comic book stories that we rely on today and use as reference for all the movies and that sort of thing. Another cool aspect of that is we are allowed to explore different aspects of Superman's character, where the Golden Age Superman was probably the weakest, starting out at this very baseline level of Superman just being able to lift a car over his head to eventually becoming a full-powered Superman as power creep set in. Silver Age Superman is basically where this power creep was at its zenith, And I would argue from all this research I've been doing into Superman, whereas New Earth Superman experienced a bit of power down to make things a little more grounded and something writers could work with, while Golden Age Superman had that trajectory I was talking about where he had to build up his power, Silver Age Superman could move entire planets, apparently without difficulty. Pretty much he could outmaneuver and overpower any opponent he came across. He was just about as strong as any depiction of Superman I've ever seen. And it's kind of neat. It's a neat idea to me that this is by far the strongest one, whereas our Superman's about as powerful enough that he could exert force close to that of like a small planet. This Superman apparently can unleash power significantly more than that. Whether or not this is exactly true or a firm science is unlikely to be revealed at any point or for us to ever get a firm answer, but that's how I like to think of things because it's a neat idea. So let me know what you guys think of all that in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, be sure to check out our Patreon page in the video description below. Finally, don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep reading comics.